Now let me share something with you that once occurred to me. I lived in this little peaceful town, and near the outlying part there was an abandoned old hospital where all townspeople were known to discuss this place and kept away from it. It seemed people always mumbled behind other people's backs that unusual phenomena happened at the hospital. Like lights were flickering at midnight and shadows were dancing behind the broken windows, sometimes even with tiny cries echoing in. Everyone believed the place to be cursed. I was never a believer in ghost stories, but something about this place always caught my attention. One night I decided I was going to check it out. My friend Mike was always up for an adventure and agreed to come with me. We figured what could go wrong, right? It was midnight when we got there. The hospital looked far creepier than I had even imagined, windows broken, the gates rusting, and in general the whole place seemed to be forgotten by time. That wouldn't stop us though. Sneaking through an opening in the fence, cold damp air hit us from inside as we stepped into this place. The silence was so thick it felt like the building was holding its breath, waiting for us to make a sound. We moved deeper into the hospital, flashlights barely slicing through the darkness. We found room after room full of old medical equipment. Some of it looked like it came from a century ago. And then in one room I saw something that made my blood run cold, a pile of old patient files scattered on the floor. I picked one up. It was marked patient number 13, experiment failed. Now I do not know why, but I could not resist reading it. As I turned the pages, I found that this hospital had been doing some pretty unethical experiments in the 1950s. They were testing all kinds of things on patients, and this one patient, number 13, had died from the experiments. It was like reading something straight out of a horror story, but I did not think much about it then. Then I heard footsteps, slow, deliberate ones coming from behind us. I turned around. No one was there. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. My flashlight flickered and the temperature plummeted so fast it felt like winter in there. That's when I heard a voice. It was barely a whisper, but clear as day. "Why are you here?" We froze. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. It felt like the walls were closing in on us. Mike reached for the door, but it slammed shut with a deafening bang. We tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. I swear it felt like the building itself didn't want us to leave. That's when I saw it. A figure. A tall, dark shadow standing in the hallway. But it wasn't like a normal person. It didn't have a face. It was only a black silhouette floating towards us at a speed I could hardly understand. We bolted. We didn't even think twice. We ran to the nearest window and crawled out through the broken glass, not stopping until we were miles away. But here's the part that still haunts me. When we returned, Mike realized his camera was missing. It was few days before we get a call from a local shopkeeper who found it outside the hospital. We rushed to get it back, and when we checked the footage I almost passed out. The last picture taken on the camera was of me and Mike inside that hospital. But here's the thing, it wasn't us who took it. The photo was taken from behind us, as if someone else had been standing there watching us the entire time. I will never step into that hospital again. And I don't think Mike will too. After you've seen it, there's just no way to see it again and unsee it. The hospital, there still exists, as always does. The whispers are still said. But possibly someday someone will return. But me? No way.